well, already I joined some of you already yesterday evening, so to get to know you. So very kind of you also to make space for me. Well, about to ask me to talk about co-benefits. So I will tell you. So I'm currently an assistant professor in land and urban economics, well, mostly focusing on environmental issues, on urban green, but a spectrum of other topics. So I will, I don't have too much time today, so I will not make a very long presentation of what I do, but a few things that I would like to highlight. So I was actually trying to figure out, so when we talk about co-benefits, and actually we did it, already talk about it in Naturance, so we're doing it for 4 years, and then for now they're like, but actually what are the co-benefits? How do people, like I tried to find a definition, like, okay, so let me kind of maybe type this back. So when I just look at Wikipedia, it wasn't really that kind of reassuring, because it's like, it's either not a nice formulation or something is going wrong here. So I thought I would better search further. And I was, so it's what I got in Google is more like related to climate, so it's kind of co-benefit. It's really a term that seemingly is used in this climate-related issues. So, so I was my question on the background was like, is it like externalities what we're talking about, or are these like co-benefits that are kind of equally kind of important, like just a list of important benefits. So, and in a way that was like something in between that what I found. So maybe it's also a question to you in the project. Okay, so how do you define it here? So essentially, what the idea is clearly, well, it's intuitive. How we be using it is simultaneously meeting several interest objectives from an intervention. So there is something that is taking place, an intervention, a change, and where there's an array of effects and impacts. Again, so it's used in climate context, but two other ones I found it interesting, that there are opportunistic co-benefits, so sort of something that we're not really focusing on, that they do happen, so sort of a nice side effect, so that's more like an externality, or strategic co-benefits, that's really like this intended co-benefits to different actors or in different spheres. So this is really, again, so this is a spectrum that I was kind of looking for, and it actually can mean anything. So, okay, so I was settled with that. So going back to this climate context, I thought that it's nice to kind of to go big and to understand, like, so we're talking climate adaptation, mitigation, and this year is a year of stocktake at IPCC, and in this context, I thought it would be interesting to mention this work of Diana Rikin, who is my colleague at IDC, but also involved in IPCC work, who was involved in this ADACA Urban Climate Adaptation Plan Assessment. So it's kind of the plans, it's not the action, but the plans, the assessment of the plans. And we're following up now on this work, bringing it to the national level. So I'm involved in this work now. And why I'm mentioning is that NbS or ecosystem-based or nature-based or ecosystem-based solutions are part of this measure. So this block 3 there. So they're explicitly measured, or we're scoring whether they're present in this national plans. So we're kind of talking already not on a nature-based solutions, which were not, maybe we couldn't even publish when we started Nativation. That was not that well accepted term. So again, things are changing, and we're talking about big, kind of already very much recognized areas. So we're talking about this nature-based solutions on the national level, proliferating to the local level. So and it's important. So you're not kind of, I would say, here for in vain. This is a project that will also look at co-benefits. So I think what I would like for now, then, after looking into the co-benefit story, I would rather say there are urban NbS or NbS in general are serving multiple purposes and deliver multiple benefits. And how you define co-benefits, it depends on whether you have explicit list of benefits or what it includes. So I think this is a bit of a more technical issue. And it depends on maybe in overlap with the business model. So again, who you have on the table, which benefits you're having explicitly there, and that you're the ones that are not there. Okay, so I'll tell you just, so my journey into nature-based solutions started with this Naturance, and it was a wonderful project to work on. A lot of output was created. So again, so we're talking. So Helen was talking about it, and we started before Corona, and we finalized when Corona was there. But the point is that we had a number of interesting outputs and publications related to that. So what we did was we looked at nature-based solutions. So we looked at what is there. So it's there not just kind of there out of nothing. So there is a lot of natural interventions and nature in the city. So we made a meta-analysis on based on rebuild preference or hedonic pricing. So looking at housing prices and using this meta function, you can also sort of project what is the added value of urban green is on housing prices in different distances from this urban green. So that was a very nice exercise. And another one was on the meta-analysis of the value of urban natures, like social value, what I would call so value to the citizens. So we also did that, and based on that, we also estimated the sort of social return, actually. So that would be maybe interesting, because this is also some new topic. It's not the monetary, the cash sort of flow return. It is a social return that on investment based on this sort of our estimated value of urban green. So that is another one that I'm looking at, what I'd like to bring up. So, and the final one, at least in this row, so is that when we were making this meta-analysis and applications, we realized that there is actually little known about small nature in the city. So there are quite a lot of studies of bigger pieces of nature, but the smaller ones are less represented. So you actually cannot estimate that precisely how, well, its value when you want to use sort of this meta-analysis or meta-function. So that's why we went out here in the Netherlands and we made a survey. So so we actually asking for willingness to pay and understanding what are the preferences of Dutch citizens for the small nature pieces in the country. I have some slides at the end if you want to know more details, but I will drop them for now. So the results are that these are the values of these pieces of different types of nature. So we looked at green corridors, connected different pieces of nature on urban forest, park, green roofs, green beds, green walls, trees, and everything is below the 20 hectares. So it can be from 2 to 20 hectares, so something not that big. And alongside with that, we have estimated the values of different characteristics of the urban nature. So what is important to keep in mind is that, so this, for example, these values of 57 or 51, is that they're estimated at some specific values of this other attributes. So when you start playing with them, or you know what kind of effect it will have, so this will also change the value. I think it's change the value that you're estimating. So this is kind of when you want to take it over or you want to use this value. So kind of you need to be mindful of how you would like to apply them. Okay, so. So what else we did in that study is that beyond beside the making the experiment, or like sort of a scientific exercise, we went out to some urban stakeholders and I was like, okay, so we're actually always saying like, we're so happy to make the numbers, so how happy will they be to know about it, and how happy will they be to use them. So our student went to Amsterdam and Utrecht to different types of urban stakeholders. And what we have learned is that essentially they were not that happy about numbers, and well, we learned more about the context. So the issue is that well, the additional natures, I think also Helen mentioned that additional urban nature is rather a burden in terms of how to call it, the upkeep to the municipalities than a benefit. So they, well, the developer is developing an area. If there is more green, then actually the developer is stopping. He has developed, and the municipality has to maintain it. And usually the budgets are different, or that's the case. So the more green you actually generate in the city, the more burden is there for the municipality if they're not watching out. The more costly it is for them, so they're actually not very happy about it. So how do you like that? So we were kind of quite interested to know about it in this way. And another one was that different stakeholders were sort of skeptical about our method. So something else that we didn't realize before. So they were talking about methodological limitations to us, and there are different. They are a bit skeptical, like how can people kind of cast a judgment on the value if they have no idea how it works? So that was also something that we have that came to the fore. And another thing that they noticed is that, if we want to have residents or we want to know their opinion, we have many kind of stakeholder meetings. There are other ways to do this and engage them, and actually they can have a lot of say in this. So wrapping this up, what I would say I've learned from this is that the practitioners are not kind of eager, at least those to whom we talked, like just say, okay, wonderful, you have values, like give them to them. They don't really care, have no idea what to do with them. So they're not the ones that say, okay, well, the hectare of social value. But interestingly, they would be interested in these numbers to make sort of these alliances. I think this is sort of talking business business model type of alliances when they need to work together. So I say, oh look, this creates a lot of value for people, so come in and get kind of on board. So this is still interesting. So when it suits their needs, they can be that this still can be interesting for them, but not in an everyday sort of decision for decision making. And another one, what I've learned from is that if we want these numbers or our numbers really to make sort of impact in practice, we should team up with those stakeholders, with municipalities, whoever could be interested, so that they are closely involved, so that they're co-involved in this process of how we measure it, how we design our experiments, how we do this, so that they're co-designed, they see how we collect our data, why we ask questions, so that they can have more trust in the numbers that we produce, because we do not just go and ask like questions outside. So there's a lot of thinking behind that, at least, to say the least. So I would say sort of participatory approaches to choice experiment with stakeholders, not only for the respondents, but also the stakeholders who might be potential users of these choice experiments.